My name is Denise Hurley, and this is my show called Journeys, where I speak to different people in the community about what they do for the community, interesting lives, interesting backgrounds. And today I am here with uh, Alix Turner, who happens to, well, let me say this. She's the heart and soul of the Lancaster Community Center and Senior Center here in town in Lancaster. So welcome, Felix.
Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you for having me. I have
You're welcome.
a good word out about the community center.
Yeah, I think that's important. And I've been bugging you for a little while to sit down with me so we can talk about it. So, because I really think it's important that people know what you do and what the center's all about. So, okay, so you manage the Lancaster Community Center, Senior Center, and you do wear many, many hats there at the center. The first thing I want to talk about is COVID. COVID's made an incredible impact on all our lives, um, as well as many social services agencies have been impacted by COVID. Um, and I think, to me, you in the community center has has led, um, has shown great leadership in the community with your efforts to take care of the seniors in town. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that effort's been since, I don't know, probably since things started?
Sure. Obviously, that's a year in a nutshell, and I have been accused of being a little long-winded. So it's a pandemic in a nutshell. It continues on. It's more than a year. But no, I'd love to talk about it because I am passionate about getting Lancaster healthy, and taking care of those residents that we call neighbors and friends. So thank you. Yeah, we sort of the community center. It's helpful to say that the community center is intergenerational,
Mm-hmm.
but one, and we are. You spoke of social services, so we are the social services hub for the community for
Mm-hmm.
Lancaster, which includes things like veterans services, and we work closely with recreation, although they are not, within the walls anymore. They used to be,
Mm-hmm.
um, but so we do serve all ages, but when COVID hit, we had all these different ideas, and now we look on. It was only a year ago, but we look on our evolution, both scientifically and as far as knowledge, and we realize that a lot has changed. But last March, we thought that COVID would leave the young, the young would escape, and that the older and the people with comorbidities or failure would be exclusively those that were really damaged. And now we've learned that that's not completely true. We've learned a lot of other things too about the science and the health ramifications, but that's above my pay grade. That belongs to the Board of Health and the scientists and the CDC. So in March, when we were told that the people at highest risks were those over 65 or with highest morbidity, we panicked because that's where we spend a lot of time. But I'm so happy, proud of the staff and the volunteers we have because they turn panic into production. And it's greatly overused, but we pivoted quickly. And even prior to the governor's orders to shut down around St. Patrick's Day weekend, the CDC and the WHO had a lot of news out about what we were supposed to do, and we started planning. I remember on one of our best annual trips, we'd go on these wonderful trips at the community center, and one of them was to the flower show. And we nipped that in the bud. It was a lot of soul searching because our mission is to help seniors and their caregivers on the COA side. And to that end, we try to reduce social isolation. So now we're staring in this at this horrible virus that requires that people be isolated. So what are we going to do? So we realized that we were going to have, there was things that we couldn't do. As our department, we couldn't close. At least my board, and we met, we discussed it, and we talked with the town administrator and others, and we decided, we're going to keep on serving meals. We're going to keep on, as much as we can, getting people to where they vitally have to go. But we didn't want to expose people. So we stopped events, especially group events, fitness classes where people would be close together. And in the middle of March, along the lines with the rest of the town, we stopped in-person meetings and so on. What we did do, though, is quickly started what we call the Angels program. And we announced that, and that was fantastic. So the Angels are simply what they're called. They Great Lancaster, and actually we have angels that are from outside of Lancaster, Clinton and Leominster, who are helping. And these people generously came forward because they were sent home from work. A lot of teachers, a lot of students participated, people who didn't have time during the day but always wanted to help and are compassionate by nature. And they came out of the woodwork to help, and it was fantastic because we had this list of seniors, and then we had people who were calling and who needed to stay home, but they weren't set up electronically to order food online, even if you could get it. Instacart and all those were backed up forever. We don't have pharmacy delivery services for the most part. There is some, but it's not enough to meet the need that we suddenly had. So we had these angels, and myself and my team at that time, Melanie and Dave, were excellent about helping coordinate and match a senior, sort of adopt a senior, as it were, program, and helping them to get the food that they needed, get the medicine they needed, and still stay inside. And we had people who could not go. We're just socially so sad and depressed because they were by themselves and they were scared. So we had other people seniors who volunteered, who we didn't want to put at risk by going to do that, even though many of them said, oh, sure, I can do it. But they became sort of phone pals, pen pals, and talking to one another. And, the biggest part of this, looking from a year back now, is the friendships and the opportunities and the barriers that we've broken down. So COVID has brought us some positive things. We upped our meals to 5 days a week. We sent a lot of those out. And we changed our transportation program. We put a little plexiglass protection or bubble around the driver, and we greatly reduced our hours. We stopped trips and so on for the obvious reasons.
Could I say something about the Angels? Gina and I had the good fortune of being part of that program, and we had a wonderful woman in the beginning help us with groceries, and she was fabulous. So I just want to say it was a great program that you started. It worked really well. It helped us get food into the house, and we felt safe. And she was delightful. So I just want to testify right here that program was a great success, because I think it really, really helped a lot of people. And it made life easier back then for us. So we didn't have to leave our home. So I want to thank you personally for that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That's so gratifying to hear. I do think that's the best part of my job, is being able to help so many people. It is gratifying. And that program, the Angels program, once we launched it, and we did it, as I said, quickly, it was up and running by the second week of March, was emulated, was taken by Mass Council on Aging and National Council on Aging and other institutions. And it's a common sense kind of idea. So I won't say that we had a patent on it, but we were the first, or one of the first, and it has really, really worked well. So, and it's one of those great things we can do. It's low cost, no cost, but with a really high benefit. And I think there's lots of other things we can do like that in the community. And that's what the community center serves for. I think of us as sort of a network or a hub to try to help these innovations.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, all
I
right.
asked you
Go
other
ahead.
more, even more about COVID, but I don't know if are you moving on to other subjects or should
No,
I?
I'm saying with COVID, I wanted to talk about the next phase with the vaccination initiative that you did.
Well, just before, you know what I was, another program which I think kind of is going to transition to the next phase. I think everybody recognizes that, before if you said Zoom, people thought it was a Mazda commercial or, something like that. And now people realize that teleconferencing and so on is here. And people thought that many people have these stereotypes that seniors in particular are not flexible.
Mm-hmm.
But I live to tell you any Tuesday, if you want to jump on to one of our bingo games and see these ladies power through Zoom, is, oh my God, it's a riot. It is funny. They can mute each other inappropriate times and everything else. But no, we really used a lot of new tools, which is great for neuroplasticity to keep people going and to keep people, because I'm so worried about social isolation. And that's the bad part about living in a semi-rural area. It's good and it's bad. Neighbors look out for each other, but sometimes people could fall through the crack. So pre and post COVID, I still worry about that. But Zoom has broken that down to a large part. And we had another program that we came up with, which was great. I named it Connections, which is just what it sounds like, because we had a lot of seniors without Wi-Fi.
Mm.
Through
Okay.
donations and through Fallon, they have a trust. We applied to the grant and they got tablets. And the Neshoba Rotary helped to not only buy tablets, but the most important part is you don't want to just hand somebody a tablet because it becomes, an expensive item on the bookshelf or a doorstep.
Right. Right.
So we trained people, and John Roper, who's our in-house IT guru, helped
Mm-hmm.
get some software so we can network into people's laptops. We bought all consistent, tablets. We bought all consistent hardware,
Mm-hmm.
set them up. So, when people get frustrated, and I know I do, when you've seen people trying to figure out a remote control for a TV, I mean, it bring you to tears. So so to get over the apprehension, so and do it. So I'm just pleased that people tried new things and it's opened new worlds for a lot of people. And that program is still going. So if people want to do it, a lot of people were scared about the Comcast bills and they're daunting. But for people who are income eligible, there's some programs that Wi-Fi is very inexpensive,
Mm-hmm.
and both the Friends and Fallon will help pay for their Wi-Fi. So it's a no cost, low cost solution. So there's more things, but I just wanted to make sure that people knew that that program existed.
Oh, okay. Great. Great. Okay. So, do you want to talk about the vaccination program now? Mm.
Sure.
Okay.
Um, so we all know that everybody's eligible for a vaccine now, but when the vaccines first were announced back
Mm-hmm.
in December and January was the beginning of the rollout, it was, um, I guess, frenetic would be the nice way of putting it. I call it a horrible rollout. I think most people can agree to. And
Mm-hmm.
we, as a division or supported by Elder Affairs, got our information at the same time that a lot of you did when we sat there and watched the governor on TV at the noontime press conferences. And I can remember one of the early ones was he said, seniors should call their council on aging. And we said, and I watched it in my mouth. Yeah, that's nice. Because at that point, we were down a staff because one of our great, really dedicated staff people put family first as she should, and decided that she needed to spend time with her kids, because families at home, it's very difficult, as I'm sure any of them would attest to teach or learn remotely.
Yeah.
So we are still down a staff, but we have a position open if anybody's listening. Very rewarding one. So anyway, we learned in real time that we were supposed to help people with vaccinations. And what I did was we put the word out that we were going to try to do so, but we knew we needed an army. So we built, I put out the word, and we worked with a system. Dave James, one of the people who works with me, an assistant, is also very good technically, and he helped on the computer and so on. And we taught people, and we went through the census information. We called people who were eligible, over 75 and eligible for the first phase, and said, do you need help? A lot of them, and I put out my email blast that I encourage anybody to take advantage of, because we announce new programs in real time when they come out through that blast. And that's that you can go onto our page on the website, and just click on sign me up for the waiting list. Sign me up for the email list. There was a waiting list. So at any rate, we started signing people up for vaccines. And it's not as easy as it sounds. There were people, incredibly dedicated people of all ages, who were helping out, who were trained to try to work that. And the tips were things like, stay up all night. We had people who left multiple laptops open, or multiple devices open, and when they got up in the middle of the night, they would try to get vaccines for people. And one of the other problems is that a lot of the people who were over 75, there were very few sites initially. People were driving to North Adams and wherever else this winter. So we helped them get there, some by means of angels, some by other volunteers. Call them what you are, they're all angels. So, and to this day, in fact, we signed up somebody today through incredible volunteer, Kristen, who's just been excellent, who is not a senior. So our programs truly have been intergenerational. And I don't think people realize that there's a lot of people in our community who don't have reliable vehicles or transportation. They may be vision impaired. They may not have enough money to keep a good car on the road. They may have other handicaps. So we have literally signed up hundreds of people through our volunteers and ourselves, and transported many, many people to Lawrence and Lowell and Gillette and, all over the face of the earth. Wherever we have to do to try to make sure that Lancaster increases our immunization rate. And I'm proud to say that people have been very kind about it, and the volunteers, again, we're so fortunate to live in Lancaster with the amazing talent and volunteers.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, great. Wow. Oh, one of the things that I like, and the timing was a little awkward because of vacation and other things, but as far as the vaccines go, I forgot another innovative program that we did that I really enjoyed was the companion. I called it Senior Teacher Program.
Yep.
So another one of those news conferences where my jaw dropped. I watched Governor Baker say one day, he said, beginning tomorrow, anybody who's over 75, because I think the state recognized all seniors can't drive. Anybody 75 can take a companion with them, and that companion can get vaccinated. And at that time, there were a lot of people who either weren't eligible or had a hard time getting a vaccine. And our phones started ringing off the hook. I think it's February 12th, and I called February 12th as Kidnap a Senior Day. Because people were just going crazy for that. But we also knew that teachers were really eager to get back into the classroom, but they're around so many kids, and obviously they can't avoid contact, and so it's dangerous for them. So we tried to, and they're also by large part, very well-known members of the community. They've already been quarried. We know who they are.
Right.
So, and seniors, as I've spoken to seniors, I think some of their top priority is to help the younger people in the community. There's a stereotype that there is a divide, but I don't find that to be true
Mm-hmm.
at all. I think that that's fiction. So some of the seniors who were even vaccine hesitant were willing to jump on board if they could help a teacher and kids in their efforts to get back to school. So it was a real good win-win. The only problem that we've ran into was getting 2 vaccines at the same time was still really difficult. But we did a lot of those. In fact, yesterday, one of them went back for their second shot. So it's been a really great program, helping break down barriers and form more friendships and get people vaccinated.
Excellent. All right. So you've created quite a few innovative programs for the times, and that's so wonderful for you to do that. Is there anything else that you've been doing in terms of just the COVID, uh, pandemic times, that you've been helping people, or is there anything else you can talk about right now that you've been involved in?
Well, we tried one of the greatest things I think that we've missed, but I hope we carry over, is the companionship. We used to do monthly special meals in house, and some special ones are like Thanksgiving dinners. We missed Thanksgiving, everybody did, and so what we did was we started a relationship with a local business because we realized that small restaurants were hurting. They weren't able to seat the people and do the business that they could. And we realized people were lonely and needed to get out. So we did a series of grab and go meals, we call them, or drive-through meals.
Mm-hmm.
With Sandy's restaurant was open and was very generous. They bent over backwards. It was meant to support them too, but I don't really think they got as much support as they should have because they were very, very kind. And those meals have been fabulous. And we just did a pizza meal at the First Church with the help of the First Church. So we're trying to do some cooperative meals. Our legislators have come to those. We offer prizes, like just little. Last time we ate masks, what everybody needs, masks. We gave out masks in addition to the food. St. Patrick's Day, people got a corned beef dinner and so on. So, we've got 120 people or something driving through that you haven't seen. So you get to run over to their window and socially distance, be able to say hi. And we subsidize the meal, this town did, with the meal program that we would normally be doing to provide nutrition, which is exactly what it was focused to do, or intended to do. So it is and was a great way. I say was, but it is, because coming up in May we have oh my God, I can't even remember what kind of red meat it is. I think it's roast beef, something that people are going to really love. And grilled vegetables, and I think a salmon. So that's going to be a spring. I know. You for
Salmon. That's my favorite.
It's going to be the spring fling, and that's coming up May 19th. So we're trying to do these once a month to help those. We're going back. Once I work with the Board of Health, hopefully we'll have a big outdoor barbecue, because we have a lot of what they call I learned a new term yesterday, 2+2, 2 vaccines, 2 weeks out. So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a 2-2, and I hope you are too. As we have more people who are able to attend events in a responsible way, we can do that. So that was an initiative meant to support businesses and seniors, and I think that's worked well too.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Now, outside of COVID, let's talk a little bit about the center itself. Um, I guess you talked a little bit about what you couldn't do back in March. You had to shut down like all the activities at the center. So
Mhm.
now it looks like you're kind of opening up a little bit. So can you tell me what the center will be doing in the future or is doing now for people, and how that like you're using Zoom and you're in person. How is that working out?
Yeah, well, I think hybrid is a new word that's taken on. It's not just a plant cross anymore. It's taken on a new term. So we're doing more and more things in a hybrid manner. For example, some of our fitness, which was strictly Zoomed, is now coming back in a hybrid manner. With the Board of Health's blessing, we can do small groups outside, and we have done that. We have Tai Chi. You'll see them on the town green. And they also, for those people who still either don't feel comfortable, aren't vaccinated, or frankly just don't want to get out of their pajamas,
Mm-hmm.
we're offering Zoom, those kind of things via Zoom. And I think that those should stay, uh, in place. I think we'll try to keep some Zoom as much as we can for things. We also created another innovative Crazy Crafternoons, and those may stay with Zoom, but where people took a kit of craft items or tools home, and then the instructor would tell people. Joe St. Agnes did some gorgeous cards for us, which are really, too pretty to send out. They're just gorgeous cards. So people got all the little pieces and the tools, and they were able to create their own great cards. I think those will probably stay. Pancakes were something we really missed, and we just discovered that those, mostly because just to seeing one another. And now we have, I guess, the bad part about climate change is that, well, there's lots of bad part about climate change, but the one good part is that in the Northeast we're experiencing a warmer spring. So we've been able to start pancakes again back on the patio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we do that at 8:30. We got some big deck heaters to try to take the chill off in the morning, and we start a little bit later.
And
And
that's
we
Tuesdays, right?
Tuesdays at 8:30, and Dave is inside by himself. Well, he is removed from people. Nobody else is allowed to be in the building
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID, and cooking. So we cook to order. You have a very bad waitress, myself and some other volunteers. And so far the tips are just negligible, but no, but no, pancakes are something that I really encourage people to come back to. And we did learn in something that we already knew, but the people's health, being healthy, their underlying health was so important, was emphasized during the whole pandemic, and it still is before, after, and now. So having the backstage gym is
Mm-hmm.
available to everybody of all ages. And in fact, it's funny, people will say to me, "Oh, is this a center? Am I old enough?" I'm like, I keep on saying this is intergenerational.
Right.
And I see the biggest part of that is the gym. There's a lot of teens, 20s, some 30, 40, some, using the gym. You sign up for an Sign Up Genius. We just got the last Concept 2, beautiful erg. It's a really, really nice, which is a rowing machine, um, for everybody to use. No cost, your tax dollars at work, but it was paid for by the Friends
Mm-hmm.
and the state through a grant and so on. So, it's something I really encourage people to sign up for. Pickleball's back too. That's inside. Days they're not playing today, but rainy days, rainy spring days, they're in. They'll be going back out in the summertime, but there's lessons that you can take, and it's just a really, really fun game. You can hear them. I can hear the pinging of the balls and then the laughing. Everybody has a great time. There's very competitive, but there's a lot of beginners. So.
Okay. Um,
Oh, one last thing, Denise. I know I go on too much, but I can't, one of the important things that we do, which is sort of a spin-off of the Angels program, because a lot of the Angels participate, but we called it Cheer for the Holidays. Now it's Cheer for the Year.
Mm-hmm.
We serve a lot of people who are shut in, and I'm assuming are going to be because they just don't drive or whatever else. Um, and it's not a financially based um, program. We honor different people, either people who are older, sometimes people who are in some, whatever the parameters are, just to bring them little tokens. It started off to be like the idea of an advent calendar, you know, a little something every week or day leading up to the holidays. But now Joanne McLaughlin, Jane Ann Crossman, who have been a big help, have really taken this and run with it. And they're doing bags throughout the year. And I can't tell you the things that people have made. I'm I'm a little jealous. Some of the some of the pretty artwork that people are getting, and the chocolates and the homemade goodies. Oh my gosh, the homemade food is incredible. You know,
And there's
cupcakes.
a lot of children involved with this project too. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, they are. There's kids have made like Valentines. Everybody, you know, hundreds of people got cards from handmade Valentines. And how sweet is that? It was really great. So,
Okay. So I imagine once things progress in in our lives, that you might be able to start looking at opening up certain programming that you used to have a while ago. Maybe the trips will come back if we get all the two going on with the vaccinations and all that. And I know personally, um, the trips are wonderful, and I'm looking forward to those starting up again at some point, so I can go on one, because the one I went to, the glass blowing one, was fabulous. So I'm really looking forward to that sort of thing happening. So do you see that kind of stuff starting back up again?
I do, and fingers crossed. There are some towns that are doing it already.
Really?
Um, yeah, I know I heard that Clinton was, or we talked about that, was doing one. I don't, for obvious reasons. First, I don't see our Board of Health approving that, but I need to ask them and ask when. We are in conversation about that, but um, just putting people, one of the things with trips is that we're together socially. Even things like, I don't know if you've been, we have these consignment crawls, which are a blast. And you put people into the van, and it's low or no cost, and we drive to different consignment stores or antique
Mm-hmm.
stores and have lunch, and there's a little competitive shopping going on. And the fun part of that is that we're together, and you're exploring new and different things. So the trips that we could do now would have to be people driving themselves individually to a spot,
Okay. Yeah.
which you can go close, but it leaves something to be desired. I
Right.
think that's probably going to be our next step, and I'm hoping to do one. We had to cancel one to the Fay Club, um, and then the Fitchburg Art Museum. So maybe we could still do some of those with our own vehicles. It's close enough. Uh, but then I would like to go back to doing the other trips. I mean, we've even done overnight trips to the coast of Maine and so on. That were a lot of fun. But those require larger groups to make them viable financially. So,
Right.
and
Well,
say, you got to be safe if you get that many people. So safety first.
safety first, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are, and it's going to happen. It will all come back.
I'm confident we will get there.
Yeah. Um, Now, I do have a question, one more question about the community center. Um, why do we have a community center and just not a senior center? Why both?
Well, it's not really both. Um,
Okay.
I'm, I'm going to have to train you, Denise.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I try to tell people we are a community center. It was both, and it sort of is, but we evolved. It's funny. for a bunch, we revolved out of that for a couple of reasons. So when the school, we're in the old memorial school, and it's funny
Mhm.
because some of the seniors come back and they either taught there or they went there or some of their students went there. And
Right.
it's a great old building. It was not designed to be a senior center, and that part it's lacking, but it's a great building. You know, it has
Mhm.
good light and it's well positioned right behind the library and the Prescott building and the town green. So I like that we can walk to the library and post office and all. And it was renovated on a shoestring.
Mhm.
Noreen led that charge for to become a community center because that was a product of our master plan.
Right.
And within the community center was the Council on Aging. And the only department that had staff at that time was the Council on Aging, albeit it was very part-time. I think it was like 10 or 14 hours. Arthur, and then since he had moved on, and I came in as a part-time Council on Aging director. Um, and I'm all about sharing. You know, I was involved in town government before, and I realized that one of the things that Lancaster has, like many, is we just don't have enough resources.
Mhm.
I don't think many towns do, but we're tough. So we have to share to make things effective and cooperate. It's the same lessons and the same things I try to encourage at the center in programming and so on. So the veterans have an office there, and they thought they had a room rec, the same thing. They thought they had, so trying to get everybody together. So they ended up that to try to coordinate that I became the council on aid, excuse me, the community center director, and wear two hats. To this day, my card and so on, my payroll has two divisions, but we're intergenerational because people wanted to go to yoga, for example, and they weren't
Mhm.
um, over 50. And yes, that's the bad news for some people who are out there. The good news is um, that 50 and over is considered a senior by most metrics.
Yeah.
65 is Medicare eligible, 60 is a lot of discounts, but who knows? Um, and so rather, we don't have time or interest in looking at people's ID to ask how old they are. And I do not like silos or the artificial barriers that we have,
Mhm.
whether it be to, sharing spaces. We had scouts in there for a long time. That was great. We do school vacation things, not now, obviously, because of COVID, but I love Nerf wars. Um, you know, just just different things where the kids mix. The kids are eating with having pancakes with people who are seniors who are typically off during the day. Pancakes isn't a senior event. People of all ages can come. So at any rate, that's why we are a community center, because we are trying to run everything as much as we can.
Yeah.
I don't think many kids are coming to the Medicare presentations, but they're welcome.
You never know. Oh, okay. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add to our conversation?
Well, there's lots, but I think I've taken up probably more than your time. I would encourage people, is to reiterate, just to please sign up for our announcements and to come and participate.
Yeah.
And we're seeking what's called a community services liaison, which does a lot of good helping people. We'll help train. You need the primary. There's a big job description on the website, but the primary criteria is that you need to be caring and patient.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so we can, yeah, I think that's probably. I encourage everybody to go to town meeting on May 3rd,
Oh,
because
yes,
we're budgets and life. Everybody is, it's where the rubber hits the road. You are the legislators, so hopefully people go.
absolutely. Okay. All right. And thank you very, very much for coming on Journeys. This is fascinating. Was so much. I want to thank you. That's what I want to say to you.
Oh,
Thank
thanks
you.
for having me. Sorry, I was so elusive. It's been been busy. So thank
Yes, you have been. You have been. So, okay. So, thanks again. Thanks to the audience for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.